there's two topics on this particular video I wanted to cover. One being the proper, shall I say, reverence, the proper respect, the proper relationship that you need to have with your guru, your spiritual teacher. And I guess, in a way it applies regardless of whether the spiritual teacher is a charlatan or a truly enlightened teacher. I don't think it makes any difference, and here's why. Because you're not going to have any harm come to you regardless of what happens. You always have to question what is taking place. And if you, for instance, are asked by the guru to participate in a sex orgy, well, assuming you are a decent person, in my estimation, you're going to reject that request, and you're going to reject that guru and never see, talk, or listen to that person ever again as long as you live, because that person has proved to you what their intentions are. Now, of course, it could be other things. It could be they want you to donate all your money, or they want this, or they want that. Whatever it is, it just doesn't matter what it is. You constantly have to be on your guard and question, what are they asking from me? And if you feel like it's out of line, because you are the ultimate arbitrator as to what is and isn't indicative of what God really is. You are the arbiter of that. So the responsibility lies on your shoulders. Now, what is the proper relationship? You have to have the kind of respect that you would have for a God or whoever it is that you assume to be the creator of all reality. You need to have the love and the respect that you feel like you want to go up and kiss their feet. Like Jesus, when people were worshiping him, where they would anoint his feet with oil or his head or whatever, and they worshiped him and everything. You need to have that kind of trust, love, and respect. And if and when the time comes that that particular teacher or guru betrays you in any way that you assume is a betrayal, you need to exit the scene and don't deal with that person anymore. Now, what is the obligation, or likewise, what is the mutual respect coming from the guru? It's very similar to that. So, for instance, if we're using Jesus as the example, well, then we could say there's an individual that said and did sacrifice his life for you. And, well, what more could you ask from a person than that they would sacrifice their life for you? I mean, you really can't ask any more than that. So if that's not enough for you personally, then there's something wrong with you. You're like evil, you're a sociopath, psychopath, whatever it is, but you don't recognize the respect and love of an individual that truly is not only prepared, but willing to sacrifice everything they have for you. Now, in my estimation, how do I feel, or what do I feel is the proper relationship of the guru for the student or the followers or the devotees or whatever it is? What in my estimation is a proper relationship? I wouldn't let anyone kiss my feet. I wouldn't let anyone worship me like that if I were a guru. If I was a teacher and people came up to me and gave me that kind of respect and everything, would I allow it? No, I would feel extremely uncomfortable about it. Now, why am I saying that? I'm saying that because that is the way 100% of all truly enlightened gurus are supposed to be. If they're not that way, then they're not. And the problem is you're never going to really know if they're that way, because they can trick you, they can lie, they can be a charlatan. Over the course of time, meaning months or years, you'll be able to know or be able to tell if that's the type of guru that you are communicating with. You will find out if that person is truly love-based. Now, when I say love-based, well, you have the relationship of a parent and a child, and well, nowadays the way they teach people is you're not supposed to spank your children. You're not. Well, of course, that's wrong. I mean, in my estimation. So what do I mean by that? I mean that it's very difficult sometimes for you to discern the true intentions of a truly enlightened guru, because he or she may scold you, may treat you in such a way that you feel offended, that you feel hurt to the core, and a truly enlightened guru will be doing that intentionally. It's not like they're doing it unintentionally. It's not like they're doing it because they're ignorant or they. It's like a loving relationship, again, between a parent and a child. If a parent loses their composure and wildly punishes and whips their child, well, then that's a terrible parent. But if it's done out of love to correct, then that's a different scenario altogether. The main objective of a truly enlightened guru is to help you to become as enlightened as you can possibly become, to help you understand the path, to understand what it is you need to go through so that you can attain or obtain whatever it is that you're trying to get out of life in regards to spirituality. And of course, the guru is a truly enlightened one, is attempting to guide you in such a way that you will eventually become one with God. Now, what does a truly enlightened guru want in return? They don't want anything. Most of all, they don't want your money. Most of all. What they want is a friendship. What they want is mutual love. And that's all that they want. Now, when I say friendship, it's kind of a strange friendship. And here's why. Friends can do a lot of things together, as you well know. They're co-equals, and they get in trouble with the law, or they get in trouble by screwing around and doing things that they know they shouldn't, but they do it anyways. into mischievous things. They're, mischief and this, that, and everything else. I mean, this is very common. And then there's adult type friendships where it's, I don't know, it leans on the side of sex and this and that. And all of these types of friendships are not a proper friendship between a guru and a follower or a devotee. It may seem like it's that way, but it really isn't, because the guru is constantly on guard to see if you're kind of out of alignment, or that maybe you're becoming too chummy, too friendly with the guru. The guru will set you straight, and in many cases it'll hurt your feelings. And the reason they'll do that is because their intention is to help you become enlightened. And to do that, there needs to be respect as well as friendship. And that's a very, very difficult thing to achieve. The pitfall of gurus, and it is a incredibly horrible pitfall. It's a betrayal of everything they should stand for. But it is so common that literally there isn't 1 in 100 that survive the effects of people worshiping them, so to say, in their role to be a guru or to teach or whatever. 99 out of 100 will fail. And why? Because here, when I say fail, how are they failing? They're failing because it starts to hit their ego, and they start to act like the ownership is to them, like they have power, that they have authority. And they really do, by the way, but it goes to their ego rather than for it to, it's like they say, water on a duck's back, or the lotus, how it like Teflon to dirt and mud and everything. If there's this devotional respect on the side that it might even resemble worshiping to the guru will be cognizant of that and be very careful, because they know that if you don't have that, you're not going to learn the hard things that need to be taught. And so what'll happen is they'll kind of allow that, but like the water on a duck's back or the lotus or whatever, it never touches them. They are like Teflon, and it goes off of them, and they allow that to flow right on through to the Creator God, rather than having any ownership of themselves. You'll be able to tell if they're not humble. You'll be able to tell if they are abusing that respect. You'll be able to tell pretty quickly. Why do I say that's important? It's because there are so many things that are required for you to reorder your life and everything, that you'll just simply walk away rather than endure the hardship that is going to be placed upon you. When they were asking Jesus, he said, well, you want to come follow me, you have to give away everything, all your money, your wealth, this, that, and everything else. Now, do I agree with that concept? No. But the reason I don't agree with it is because everyone takes it literally. And the in my opinion, the Bible was misconstrued and corrupted and whatever. But it is very similar to that. Yes, you have to be willing to give up everything. But at the same time, any enlightened guru that would allow that sort of thing to happen on your part, meaning you're willing to, and you go, okay, well, here's all my money, here's everything because I respect you and I want to become enlightened. Any guru that would allow that to happen isn't enlightened and isn't your friend and isn't an enlightened guru, and you should walk away because that person doesn't know the first thing about how to help a person on the spiritual path. They are probably narcissistic or whatever. Why am I being so harsh about this type of scenario? It's because, as I said, 99 out of 100 gurus will fail that final test for them, and so it's phenomenally rare and difficult to find a decent teacher that is not going to abuse that role or that position that needs to be present for you. The other thing I wanted to talk about, again, and I touched upon it on the last video, is the concept of the rainbow where it doesn't exist. And that applies to literally 100% of everything. As I said, I touched upon that on the last video. And so I just wanted to elaborate just a little bit more on that. And what I mean by that is everything, meaning me, my body, your body, the traffic lights, the car that you drive, the buildings, the cats, the dogs, the propaganda you hear on the news, the 100% of everything in existence has so many facets to it, and all too often people say, oh, that's what reality is, and they're just seeing a facet, and a facet isn't the thing, it's just a facet. And they get stuck on saying, well, that's real. And of course, because they say and think that that's real, they go to war and they murder and kill people and blow things up, or they betray their spouse, or they stab their boss in the back, or it's just endless, the things that take place on this planet during the Kali Yuga where nobody knows what the truth is. And why is that so? Because you cannot discern what the truth is using your brain and your intelligence and your awareness and your eyes. You can't trust what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you feel. It is simply a facet of what is, when I was going to say what is actually existing, but in reality there is nothing existing. And I'm not saying nothing like I normally say nothing. What I mean by that is there is no intrinsic reality to anything. In other words, some people would say, what's the true meaning of this? If you were God, what is the true meaning of that? It's like I'm holding this remote control up. And if you were saying, well, what is it really? If you were God, what is that remote control? What is the true nature of it? And that can be anything. I don't care what it is. But the reality is there is no true meaning of it. There is no true aspect of this remote control. It's like you could say, well, this is the physical reality of it, but what's the molecular level reality of it? What's the color of it? It just goes on and on and on and on and on. And I know I'm confusing you. This is a subject that is so damned confusing to everyone that it just goes right over their head. Or else they'll go, oh, I know what he's talking about. Yeah, that makes sense. But you don't. It's still going over your head. I'm telling you it is. And every time you think you know something, you don't. It's going over your head. You're getting a little closer to knowing, but you're not there. Because as soon as you think you're there, you've gathered a section of pride and you've cemented something in your ego and everything, and it's just going to make it more difficult. When I say more difficult, to become enlightened, because you keep cementing these realities that have to be disposed of or reorganized. There is no God intrinsic reality to this remote control. It doesn't exist. There's for every human being and every bug and every sentient thing that exists, it has a different view of this. There is, and when you put them all together, it still isn't this. You create your own reality. Everything that there is in existence, you recreate. And that's what it is to you. But you need to understand it, that is only what it is to you and only you. I want you to go out and look at the lake at night, any lake, any body of water at nighttime, and notice how the light on the rippling water of a car going by, anything, the reflection always points to right here, between your two eyes, your third eye. This is one of those things of this reality that God created to help you wake up to the realization things aren't what they appear to be. Because if you move from where you're at to 100 feet over there, the light still goes right there. It always goes right there, no matter where you move. There's no intrinsic nature to the fact that the reflected light, because it's everywhere. It covers every part of the lake, no matter what. You are the thing that is experiencing the light. It is your awareness that's creating that perspective of reality. And then, more importantly, is when you become enlightened, you will understand, you will experientially become so aware that reality is an illusion that it will hit you like a ton of bricks, that nothing exists and yet you see it. But you feel it in your soul and in your spirit in an instant. I gotta snap my fingers. In an instant, you will be converted from ever thinking things are real again. Now, when I say I was talking about facets of things, yeah, there are facets of things, and you're making those facets, but recognize there's nothing to make a facet of. It doesn't really exist. You do not exist. There is no physical body to experience this reality. That's an illusion too. Remember in the last video when I said you're still existing in Brahman. You never left. You never went anywhere. Movement is impossible. There's nothing to move, and there's nowhere to move. You are still in Brahman. The only thing that exists is your awareness. Your essence became alive the moment it was aware of something else. The moment it became aware of the love of God, it sparked into existence. And it has never left where it started. And where it started, there is no space. There is no light. There is no universe. There is no nothing. There is no God in the way that you would normally think there's a God. There's no spirit or soul in the way you would normally think there's a spirit and a soul. The only thing in existence is your awareness. But awareness is like a, I'm not very good at my schooling, so I'm trying to remember. I think it's called a verb. Anyways, your awareness isn't really something. What's something is your essence. That's what's something. But even when I say something, it isn't physical. And your essence cannot take up space or anything. It still is where it started out. It can't go anywhere because there's nowhere to go. The only reason it goes anywhere is because your awareness creates a road in front of you as you're walking, so to say. As you keep traveling through your development of what you are, as you keep traveling, you start seeing universes and moons and solar systems, and you start seeing down into the micro level or whatever, bugs and atomic structure of things and atoms, and then you start expanding your awareness, and then you start experiencing other human beings and essences that are communicating with you on a shall I say spiritual level, that two awarenesses are becoming aware of each other. And you keep creating reality as you move on. You do. Now, does God create the universe and all that stuff? Yes, not you. God initially creates it, and then you recreate exactly what God created in your own specific way, in your own facet, and then you extrapolate from that facet to flesh it out, to build more of what you see and feel and experience. And reality, you're not feeling or anything. What you're doing is your awareness is becoming aware that you have feelings. And then when you die, and then you're reincarnated, what are you reincarnated with? You're reincarnated with the exact same thing that you had when you died before. And what is that exact same thing? Well, think about it. You are not a human being with eyes and a brain and a head and all that kind of stuff. That's not what you are. What you are is an essence that has awareness. That's what you are. So when you're reincarnated into another life, nothing is lost. Nothing is ever lost. It's impossible to lose anything. Once it's created, it is created for all time and all eternity, and there is nothing that can get rid of it for you. So you're reincarnated again into another life. If you created love, then you reincarnate as a human being that loves. If you were greedy and power hungry, you're reincarnated with a proclivity towards greed and power and control. It's like if you were a cop your whole life and you were a child and you go, I want to be a cop. Well, why do you want to be a cop? Well, because I want to get criminals and I want to do this and I want to do that. Or maybe it's you want to be a cop because you like the power and authority that comes with being a cop. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And you do that your whole life. And then you, instead of retiring, go into other governmental positions where you can exercise your power and authority. You're going to reincarnate again with a proclivity towards power and authority. If, on the other hand, you're constantly concentrating on your spiritual path and growth and being kind and loving and doing the very best you can to learn everything there is about spirituality, what are you going to reincarnate with? You're going to reincarnate with the same desire and proclivities towards becoming more spiritually aware. So this is why they say, a lot of gurus will say, oh, well, if you're not enlightened now, it could take multiple lifetimes. Well, yeah, it could. And it does. So if you're on that spiritual path and you're like constantly, shall I say, anxious, you're constantly pissed off. It's like, I'm so damn tired of not being enlightened. What are they talking about? That pisses me off so much. What do they know that? How'd they get that? Why not me? Blah, 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 blah. You need to get rid of that. You really need to get rid of that in your lifetime. You really need to somehow, you really need to get rid of that and instead replace it with an excitement that you're moving forward. And an excitement that if things are going to hell in a handbasket and they're not going well for you, at least look around and see what is going well for you. And if nothing's going well for you, then just look around and enjoy the ride as best you can. And maybe you can learn just one thing in an entire week. Maybe you can learn one thing. Because you have endless, well, I won't say endless, but you might as well say endless time to accomplish this. So don't worry about it. Be happy, be joyous, because if you live, let's say you're 30 years old and you die in a car wreck next week, you're going to have to be reborn again. And when you're reborn, you're going to have a proclivity towards anxiety. I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm so frustrated that I never get to learn these spiritual things. That's the proclivity. That's the essence of what you're going to be reincarnated with. Because you're not going to be reincarnated with, my name is John, I'm a good car driver, I'm very good at math, and all these things may be true. Then you may be reincarnated with those types of things. If, let's say, you're a race car driver and you're a professional race car driver and you do this your entire life, I guarantee you're going to be reincarnated with a proclivity of being able to quickly adapt to driving a car. But you're not going to remember that. You're just going to think you're a damn fast learner at driving a car. But you could be reincarnated with an attitude of frustration and anger and being pissed off because things don't go well for you. So work upon thinking that you might die tomorrow, or you might die next week, or you might die 50, 60, 70, or 100 years from now, and work on of changing yourself right now, today, by trying as hard as you can. I know it's damn difficult sometimes. But try to have an attitude of thankfulness in your heart, love in your heart, joy, all of these things, so that when you die and you're reincarnated, you have a foot up, so to say. You have a head start on the next life. And if you become enlightened like Buddha, then yeah, you there's probably no point in you being reincarnated again, and you probably won't be reincarnated again after you become enlightened. Unless you're like bodhisattvas type thing where you want to come back and help other people. But even that is like, you're not going to do that endlessly. But not being reborn again doesn't mean that's the end. I mean, let's say you do become enlightened like Buddha or like Jesus or whatever. And that's the end of the road for you here. But that's only the end of the road for you here. There's endless steps beyond that to become one with God. Endless. Maybe not on this planet. Maybe on some planet 50 billion light years from here. I mean, because the universe is endless because God created it to be endless. So in reality, I've said this before, but think about that. You're right here, that your third eye, right here, right there, that is the center of the universe. Everything rotates around that. There is nothing in existence that doesn't lie outside of that. And that is the center of the universe. Since the universe is a illusion created by the creator God, Brahma, then the reality is you're creating it, recreating it. And since there's no true intrinsic universe, because you never left Brahman, then you are the center of it. Everything lies outside of that. I'm all over the map here, ain't I? Anyways, I don't know if I'll post this one today. The reason is I'll put the date today, but I don't think I'll post it till Friday. And that's because I've got my daughter coming down from Winnemucca to pick up her king-size bed, and she's going to visit for a few days. And I'll probably post it Friday because I'll be spending 4 or 5 days with her and her husband. And that way it won't go 2 weeks without a video. I'm going to try to make videos more often if possible. But as you can see from my shop, I've got a lot of things that I do all the time. In addition to that, I try to follow up with people that email me and we have conversations back and forth, and you know who you are. And I want you to know 100%. I don't know how to bring it across on the video. I don't know how to make this real to you, but anyone that I happen to be communicating with in email form, I absolutely love you. I want you to know I'm dedicated to you. I sacrifice everything for you so that you can become more enlightened, so that you can make a little bit of headway in your lifetime. That means everything to me. That means I'm more dedicated than you are to learn. That's maybe that's prideful for me to say, and I shouldn't say it that way. Let's put it this way. I'm extremely grateful for anyone that's interested in this. I am extremely grateful, which is why I do this. Anyways, thank you so very, very much for spending a little time with me. And yeah, we'll see what the week holds. Thank you for watching. You guys have a good weekend and the next few weeks. Bye. All right, this is a king-size bed frame that I built the other day. It's for my daughter, and this is what you call live edge. This is my garage, basically. Well, garage and shop, But the metal is acid etched, and then I go ahead and clear coat it with an automotive clear coat. And this is what the live edge looks like up close. Anyways, and I ride a motorcycle, which is that. And this is my shop, which is where I do well, not all my artwork, but a lot of my artwork I do in here. Anyways, I like listening to music a real lot. And so this, of course, I built the table that's holding the stereo equipment, which is what I do. And that's one of the places that I sit. And of course, I remodeled and built everything on this house. Stairway, everything. And any of you that have anything to do with video editing and everything, look what I'm studying right there. Oh my gosh, that's a big book. But I'm learning how to use the Apple Final Cut Pro, going from a PC. Anyways, that's what I do.